Hi, I'm Simon Cataldo, your state representative in the 14th Middlesex District, and this is The Whole Truth on ActonTV. We have a very special guest that we're welcoming onto the show today, Kate Fox, the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism, otherwise known as MOT. Kate, thanks so much for coming on and welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm thrilled to be here.
So there's so much to talk about. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, everyone in our area is thinking about history and about travel and tourism. A lot of folks are going to be coming here. So let's broaden the lens a little bit and talk about your role. You're fairly new to the role. What are you bringing into the job? What kind of experiences have you had, and how's it been going so far?
It's been great. So I've been on the job for a year. So it's been 12 months of learning and building back the agency. The Office of Tourism has a tremendous amount of opportunity, and in its heyday, they had as many as 20 employees at MOT, and we were down to about 10. And so we've been hiring and expanding so that we can get back to some of the traditional destination marketing efforts a state tourism office should really be engaged in to be competitive. So I was delighted to be invited to join the agency and join the Office of Economic Development last summer, and have just been sort of building the plane as we fly it ever since. Some of our priorities, you mentioned the 250th, that of course is a huge priority that has a very firm deadline on it. We have a lot of work to do and in the next couple of years, and look forward to engaging with communities across the state to use Massachusetts 250 as a catalyst to drive both visitation but also statewide pride in everything we have and do in Massachusetts. And that is running side by side with a new domestic marketing campaign we're doing to increase travel to and within Massachusetts, and we're doing international marketing. There is a lot of post-pandemic growth in the international tourism community, and so many more direct flights coming into Logan Airport, and people wanting to come and explore Massachusetts and New England. And if you're flying through Logan, you can't do New England without Massachusetts.
You know, Kate, it's incredible how much you've hit the ground running. I know that you have a statewide portfolio, but in just about a year, you've already been into our district multiple times. You know the issues here. You were just saying that you had visited Nara Park recently. You've been to Concord twice. I know your team is going to be in Carlisle next week with me at a fun event that's happening over there. So I am so impressed by that. And I just have to ask, with so much going on in the tourism realm in Massachusetts, so many destinations, how does your office wrap its arms around all of that and balance some of the different priorities?
Well, one of the things I tell everybody, there are 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts and one Office of Tourism, so I invite everybody to get on our mailing list. You can go to visitma.com and sign up to be a Mass Insider, and that gets on your mailing list. So you learn about what we're doing. People who are have tourism-facing programs and organizations can add listings. It's free to be listed on visitma.com. So tell us what you're doing, because there's no way we can be aware of everybody equally. So tourism marketing does definitely have a component of squeaky wheel gets the grease. And with the 250th, Concord, how could I not come to Concord? It's Concord. This whole area is really wonderful and steeped in history. I came to the parade in Concord on Patriots Day. It was
We appreciated that.
First time I've done Concord and Lexington on Patriots Day, and I will be back. It was great. I had no idea there were so many fife and drum corps from all over the place. It's certainly draws from way beyond Massachusetts. So we loved the parade and look forward to participating in that again.
I want to loop back to something you said at the outset. You mentioned that your office is within the economic development regime of the Healy-Driscoll administration, and you mentioned some of the benefits. Why is it worth the taxpayers' investment to grow the Mott office? What are we getting back in Massachusetts from all of the efforts, the staff, your work, in terms of improving our economy here?
Money. Tourism travel and tourism is considered an export because the money is coming in from outside of the state. And in 2022, which is our most recent data, we'll have 2023 data later this summer, but 21 million visitors in 2022 generated $26 billion in spending across the state. And that spending, it supports taxes. It also supports more than 130,000 jobs across the state. And tourism jobs can't be exported. They can only happen here. The part of the reason people love to travel to Massachusetts is because it is an authentic, unique experience, and you can do the coast, you can do the Berkshires, you can do the history. There's so many things that you can do right here in Massachusetts that you can't do anywhere else. So those jobs are so important, and they aren't going anywhere. We want to see more tourism to support more businesses and support the existing businesses and organizations in a way that they can expand their employee base and just keep growing and supporting our economy.
So speaking of growth, we have this kind of monumental event that's coming up. And here we are, just a year into your tenure. You're needing to kind of juggle and manage this while also building an office. And I'm wondering if you can kind of bring us into some of the challenges of flexing up for something big that's happening statewide, like the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. As I said, we have so much going on anyway statewide, and then there's this big thing. It's happening the same weekend as the Boston Marathon, or at least part of that celebration is. So how do you manage all that?
So we look at the 250th as a multi-year endeavor that has some punctuation marks like Lexington and Concord, Battle of Bunker Hill, which is actually going to be reenacted in Gloucester because there isn't enough space at Bunker Hill Monument. So they've moved that, just like the battle on Lexington Green is being moved from Monday to Saturday in 2025 because of the marathon and because of the numbers of people they're anticipating for public safety and transportation. They've made that shift for schedule. We're also looking at creating a series of revolutionary weekends that will open the umbrella for people across the state to provide programming, develop things to do, and ways to invite visitors in to learn about their locations that are connected, maybe not necessarily to a battle or something that happened in 1775, 1776, but something that happens today that is revolutionary. So we're developing a lot around both the commemoration of what happened during the American Revolution and the celebration of everything in Massachusetts that's happened since. All of our wonderful firsts, everything that makes it a great place to live and visit.
I'm so glad you mentioned that aspect of this time. I think that in Concord, in Acton, in a lot of other communities that are preparing for the 250th, there's been a lot of reflection about how we can improve our understanding of our past and specifically the American Revolution. I just recently learned that a disproportionately high number of Black residents in Concord fought in the Revolutionary War, which is amazing for many reasons.
Yeah.
Once you think about it a little bit, and what that means for our future. You know, what our new understandings mean for our future. Certainly, I think it's worth the economic investment for economic output reasons. It's also worth that investment to improve our understanding and for Massachusetts to continue to be a leader on these historic issues. So it's a weighty job that you have in many ways. I'm wondering how your office kind of interfaces with the messaging aspect of this. Who are you partnering with that on that issue with, and how does that part of your job work?
Sure. So we have actually contracted with Proverb Agency, which is a Boston-based marketing firm, to do the marketing around the 250th. And we launched a new brand at our Governor's Conference for Travel and Tourism on April 2nd. And we are now working on a marketing campaign that will come out in conjunction with that brand. We have a new website, 250.ma, that will have a statewide calendar of events, and it will tell those stories, those untold stories that we want to shine light on across the state that relate to the history, and also what we do today that is inspired by the American Revolution. So there's a lot going on. We're also working with the Massachusetts Historical Society, which is the first historical society in the country. They're doing Massachusetts History Day, and that's a program with high school students where they spend a semester working on a history project, and it'll be themed around the Revolution. And we're working with the libraries across the state on reading lists that will help interpret and understand the Revolution through a modern lens.
All right, so I'm not asking you to pick favorites, but are there
Concord.
any events, Acton, Concord, Carlisle, Chelmsford, for me, they're all the same. They're all number one. Are there any events that people might know about? So, we know the Patriots Day Parade, but you've really had your hands in a lot here. Anything that you're kind of really excited about for this next kind of multi-year, as you said, celebration?
So I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to is the reenactment of the Henry Knox Trail. So the Henry Knox Trail is what Henry Knox brought the artillery from Fort Ticonderoga, New York, to Dorchester Heights. And that's what sent the British packing on March 17th of 1776. And so there are plans in the works to reenact that trail across the state. And I think that's a really exciting way to engage all of our regions and see what that looks like. The other piece, in addition to the 250th, we roll right from the 250th into FIFA World Cup, which is I think it's June 10th to July 9th. And we have 7 games being played at Gillette Stadium, which will be Boston Stadium for the World Cup. And then 2 days after the quarterfinal game, Sail Boston starts in Boston Harbor. And we're expecting more than 30 vessels from around the world to come into Boston to be the final stop on the America 250 sail that starts in New Orleans and ends in Boston. So many things going on in 2026, and I'm looking forward to the things that haven't been planned or announced yet as well.
I think that there are a lot of people in Massachusetts who pay attention who don't even know yet that FIFA is going to be here.
I was talking to somebody last week, and they said, "What do you mean the World Cup's coming?" I mean, we don't go a day without talking about 250, the World Cup, and Sail Boston. So I was surprised. So we've got some marketing to do.
It's really exciting. So what other agencies within the state are you partnering with to help plan and envision how all of this is going to go?
Sure. So before I get into the state agencies, because we're all about crossing silos and working with our partners, I want to talk a little bit about how tourism works in Massachusetts, where we have 16 regional tourism councils. And so Concord, Chelmsford, Acton, and Carlisle are all part of the Greater Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is one of the 16. So we work with all of those regional tourism councils to make sure they're funneling up the information we need to know to best promote the state. Within the state, we're working with DCR, Conservation Resources. We're working with the new Office of Outdoor Recreation. It's almost a year old, so I shouldn't call it new anymore. We're also talking to the MBT a lot and Keolis about how we can promote car-free travel to programming around the Revolution and tourism in general. They're $10 weekends. There's a $10 flat rate ticket to ride the commuter rail on weekends, and it's a great way for people to get around. And they have a new program called Mass Adventures. They're operating a little bit like a tour operator to get people out to do things with a prepackaged ticket. So you can take the train to go kayaking on Cape Cod. You can take the train to Ipswich to go to Crane Estate. And so they are developing all of those products to sell to traveling public, which is exciting.
That's great. It's so cool how you've gone in here and now you're touching all these different agencies and groups and partners. And I know that from my interaction with planning for the 250th, there are a bunch of different kind of arms of the state that are coming in looking at public safety. What do you do and then what do you not do? Kind of how do you draw that line in your role?
So I like to think of us as building liaisons and making connections. So where a community might have a question about who to talk to about public safety, where do they turn to get information about transportation and information, we can make those connections and make those introductions. It's not something we're planning directly through Mott. The Office of Tourism is a marketing agency, so we know a little bit about a lot of things across the state, and we have interactions with so many people that we're able to make those connections when needed.
If you're in marketing now and your role has something to do with tourism, whether it's a local magazine or anything like that, where would you go to find information about kind of ramping up your operations as we approach the 250th or any other big event that's coming up that relates to tourism?
Sure. So we have two websites right now. 250.ma is the Massachusetts 250 site. It's just a landing page. By the end of the month, we're hoping to have the calendar of events posted there.
Great.
And more information. And we will then be feeding information there on different events that are happening and sort of those transportation and access details that people will want to, we want to be linking people out to the official websites as well for everything. So for Massachusetts 250, you want that website, 250.ma, and there's all the social media channels that go along with that.
I was going to ask about that.
Yep,
Okay.
Massachusetts 250 on, what are we on? We're on Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And then Visit MA is the year-round website for tourism in Massachusetts. And that one is the site where businesses can go and create their listing. So if you're tourism facing, you can go in and create a listing and add events, and it's free of charge.
Okay, what else should people know about Mott's work? What's coming up? What they should be excited about? Tell us about that.
Well, I should mention another partnership that's very timely is our partnership with Agricultural Resources. We last year partnered on the Massachusetts Wine and Cheese Trails brochure, and this year we're partnering on the Massachusetts Ice Cream Trail, which is going to come out in July in time for Ice Cream Month. And so we're really looking forward. It's got more than 100 farms, dairy farms that do ice cream will be featured on this trail, and I'm looking forward to spending some time doing some research on the ice cream trail.
Yes.
So that,
it's important to do that in person.
It is. You have to get out and,
right.
see the people and meet the farms, see the cows, and maybe have some ice cream. And so that people love those trails. The Wine and Cheese Trail last year did really well. We also, underneath Mott, we have the Massachusetts Film Office. Mm-hmm. We've had some award-winning significant film projects in Massachusetts recently. Most current are The Holdovers and American Fiction. Both were Academy Award winners and both filmed locally. We created location guides that you can download from our website so you can go and visit the locations in the films. We did the same for Julia, the TV series. We did it for Little Women, that was Concord. So you can go to mafilm.com and download the film guides if you want to go out on a Saturday drive and visit the sites that they used for these projects.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think a lot of people don't know that we have a major film studio right in Devens.
Right.
Very close by. It's not the only one in Massachusetts. We have a pretty thriving film industry here, and as we know, people know about the movies, many of them filmed on the North Shore most recently, that have made it big here in Massachusetts. But we also just have these film studios where the show Dexter was filmed over there.
Dexter was in Berkshires. We have the new I don't watch The Walking Dead, but Dead City, that's what it's called. Dead City is filming in Massachusetts. We had Wakanda in Worcester, so the Marvel movie, and now it's Wakanda Forever, and I can't remember the name of the movie. But that filmed in Worcester, and Worcester won an award for locations. So people don't realize how many projects are filming here in Massachusetts. We have a busy film office, and they're working to bring more projects in. So keep an eye on that. The new Challengers, the movie called The Challengers with Zendaya, was also filmed here.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
There you go. That's one of the biggest ones we have right now.
It's out, and everybody says it's great. I haven't seen it yet.
Amazing. Well, I just learned a lot, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're doing this job, and as I said, just really hitting the ground running in your first year. It's a tough time to come into the job with all the big things that are coming up, but grateful that you're here, grateful that you've had such a presence in our little neck of the woods over here, and excited to continue working with you as we hurtle towards April of 2025 and beyond.
It's exciting stuff. It's a great time to be here. It's really a thrill to be in the position.
Kate, thank you so much. So what was that website again?
Visitma.com for year-round general tourism, and then for the 250th, it's 250.ma.
Check it out. I'm Simon Cataldo, your state representative in the 14th Middlesex District. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Kate Fox, for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.